Look, there's no doubt there are really dangerous forces in our society. Some of it is politics and some of it is culture. And one of the mistakes people make in politics is thinking everything is politics. So the political answer, which I happen to believe, is we went much further down the road of liberalism. You look at Bill Clinton, who inherited the peace dividend of the Cold War being over and moved us more to the left, and then Obama accelerated it a lot. And so there are lots of, I agree, bad economic policies, but I also think they're cultural things. The laws, I agree with all the family. I know what you're even saying. I agree 100%. I bet there's not one word that I would disagree with. All I'm saying is, well, I think it's important to step back and I actually think Russia has very little to do with it. So that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, which is, like, we're all sort of focused on beating our adversaries abroad, but what is victory worth if our own country becomes what it is now? And maybe we're spending a little too much time focused abroad and not enough time focused on the people sleeping outside Union Station. So, look, I absolutely think we need to focus at home, emphatically, and we need to focus on prosperity. We need to focus on reducing the debt, reducing spending, empowering people, low taxes, small businesses, American free enterprise. It's the most powerful force for fighting poverty the world has ever seen. I'm 1,000% there. I also recognize it is a dangerous world, and part of the responsibility of leaders, part of President Trump's responsibility, is to keep America safe. Let's go back to where we started. Matthias Reh, you've been in the district a long time in D.C., so have I. And the city's way more dangerous, and Congress runs this. It's a complete crapple. So I'm saying, like, no Iranian's ever going to kill me. I could get carjacked here. When I used to understand how the Congress could run the city and focus on the dangers of Iran, when the city is a garbage, it's garbage. But Congress doesn't run the city. We could. Those bears run the sea. It's in the Constitution. It's in the Constitution that they'd given home rule, so it's a Democrat. They took it back. You control the Congress. I'd vote for it. But it is a question of math. Okay, but I'm just saying, like, why? How can people ignore? It's like if my own kids are drug addicts, but I'm focused on my neighbor's kids, it's like I'm neglecting my own kids. And there's a sense in which the Congress is neglecting the country that elected them in favor of this relentless focus on other people's problems. That's the way it feels as an American. Look, there are lots of problems in America that we need to fix. Why is D.C. a pit? Because you have a mayor and a Democrat city council that won't let police officers arrest bad guys. And in every city you see across the country, whether it's New York, whether it's Chicago, whether it's L.A., whether it's San Francisco, if you have Democrats, we see the L.A. riots, where they won't let people be arrested. Why not work in regime change here? I want to use the bully pulpit. What do you think I do every day? And hey, let's hear a Republican senator stand up and say, I just walked to work this morning over people dying of drug ODs. We're going to shut this place down unless they fix it. They're mad about Putin. Like, what did Putin do to Washington? Nothing. Look, in terms of regime change, let's talk this week, the riots in L.A., I'd made very clear that the cause of those riots are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, and when you elect communists who hate America, who stop law enforcement from arresting criminals, you get what you get on this. And man, I agree. My in-laws are Californians, and they're wonderful people. Heidi grew up on the Central Coast of California, and I remember I was texting with my mother-in-law, and I think I sent her a video of criminals going into a store and just looting in California. And her response, she said something like, well, this is really terrible. I wish we could, it's a shame we can't do anything about this. So guess you can. Go in, arrest them, throw their butts in jail, put them in handcuffs, and it was exactly. And so we know how to fix these things. And D.C. is, I think D.C. voted, if I remember right, 92% Democrat. Democrat policies don't work, and they destroy every community that they are in charge of. Then why don't Republicans assert their constitutional authority over the city? Don't they control the Congress? Yes, I'd be all for it. I was against it. Susan Collins is really vocally against it. So on questions of home rule, so for example, let's take an issue you and I care a lot about, the COVID lockdowns. I had a couple of years ago in the middle of them. D.C. was proposing, the D.C. school district was proposing throwing out of school any child that was not vaccinated. And at the time, if I remember correctly, it was something like 40% of the African-American students in D.C. were not vaccinated. So we're talking about literally throwing out 40% of the kids at public school. And so I had a vote on the Senate floor to say, look, they can't throw kids out of school for this. And we ended up having a big argument, and part of the argument was home rule. where there was, and Susan was the most vocal Republican. That's like, no, we have to let D.C. run it. I'm like, why? Constitution gives us the power to do it. And it ended up, by the way, every single Democrat, all of them, voted in favor of the D.C. public schools being able to throw out 40% of the black kids from school. And I said, look, you throw a kid out of school. You got a 14, 15-year-old boy, you throw him out of school. You know what's going to happen next. He's going to join a gang. He's going to engage in crimes. He's going to engage in drugs. He could be dead within 5 years if that kid doesn't get an education. And the Democrats were more than happy to say, we don't care. Right now, our religion is get the vaccine or to hell with you. But can you, I mean, once again, I couldn't agree with you more, but can you feel the frustration of people, including your voters, every American, at the emphasis on foreign countries and the threat we supposedly face, a lot of which is fake, obviously, over the kind of slowly unfolding tragedy of what's happening to our country, the dollar spent, the aid packages to Ukraine to pay the retirement of civil servants in a country that we have nothing to do with.